the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
A hand? Anyone? Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick. Oh. Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. I'm usually better at this. A bit shocked, but friend, it's a relief and a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. You were on the Norse Lloyd as well. And I can only assume you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region. The insertee we speak of, this parasite, are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers? It's a process known as ceremorphosis, and let me assure you, it is to be avoided. You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor? Surgeon? Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
You seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
Most, no doubt, but I find myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them. As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon, too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together? Most excellent. A parasite shared is a parasite halved, or something to that effect. Oh, but before you think you're about to embark on a journey with most ill-mannered a man, thank you for pulling me out of that stone. It was an act of foresighted kindness, I assure you. For I have the feeling ample opportunities will present themselves for me to return the favor. Tiring business, isn't it? All this traveling and adventuring. Why don't we take a little break, Allow ourselves a few moments of rest. Gives me a chance to talk to you about something, well, rather important. We've been on the road together for a while now, haven't we? Survived some perils, overcame some obstacles. Ever since you were kind enough to free me from that stone, I've seen you demonstrate remarkable guile and courage. In short, I've grown to trust you. The reason I make a point of saying this is that I've grown confident enough to tell you something I've yet to tell another living soul, except for my cat. You see, I have this condition, very different from the parasite we share, but just as deadly. The specifics are rather personal, but suffice it to say that it is a malady I've learned to live with, though not without some effort. What it comes down to is this. Every so often, I need to get my hands on a powerful magical item and absorb the weave inside. I can say no more on the matter, not now anyway. Just trust me when I say it's all of vital importance. It's been days since I last consumed an artifact, since before we were abducted. It's only a matter of time before my craving returns. That is why I turn to you. I need you to help me find magic items to consume. It is vital. dare I say it, critical. We've already done the finding. In fact, you have one in your possession. You know for yourself how hard-won such an item was, and it will be no easier when even more are required to assuage my hunger. There'll be danger involved, or great cost. Splendid. Bit of boldness will serve us well. I'm sure we won't have to look very far to find what I need. Faerun overflows with magic-infused treasure. As do our packs, as a matter of fact. We've such an item already in our possession, primed for the moment the need arises. Go to hell. Oh, nothing. Nothing. I'm just poorly making a point. Go to hell. An everyday expression. So trivial it's almost meaningless. But we've seen hell. It's real. And it isn't trivial. Devils, dragons, mind flayers. They used to be abstracts. Pictures on a piece of paper. What a difference a day makes. Now we have tadpoles slithering through our heads like carnivorous feti. That's not abstract. Point well made. I see. I'll wake you bright and early. We'll need to find a healer before the wee one gets hungry. Believe it or not, but I witnessed a similar standoff back at the Yawning Portal. Of course, an establishment like that invites all sorts of outlandish entertainments. An inn in Waterdeep. Oh, never a dull moment there. Adventurers come from all over Faerun to try their luck down the well. Leads into the Undermountain, you see, full of death, danger, and vast amounts of treasure. Hard to resist. Oh, a drow, a dragonborn, and a cleric of Cyric walk into a bar. Your standard fare. Maybe someone was cheating at cards. Maybe it was some weird lover's quarrel. In any case, out came the crossbow. and a hush fell over the entire room. I stood up and yelled, "Shadow Dark Ale for everyone!" The crowd cheered. The tension drained into 6 tankards, and soon all was well again. In a place like the Yawning Portal, the most powerful magic is calling for a round of drinks. Mind you, all I did was call for ale, but you went and stood in front of that crossbow. Well, I'd drink to that. That woman has more venom in her heart than a snake in its fangs. But at least the child is safe. What is youth if not a time to be forgiven for one's transgressions? Couldn't agree more. The girl wasn't innocent, but that doesn't mean she was guilty. That is most gratifying to hear. May I? Thank you. That hit the spot. I can feel it work. The magic, it's like a lullaby that sings to sleep the demon inside. A metaphorical demon, I haste to point out, but no less dangerous. And no less bound to wake up again to continue its ravages. Such is the nature of all monsters. Oh, it's not so bad once you get used to it. And, on the plus side, my tower in Waterdeep has never been so free of clutter. Sincerely, though, I understand I ask a lot from you with few answers in return. But in time, all will be told. My lord, I bow to your boundless kindness. My condition is worsening again. I need to consume some powerful magic or it may become volatile. Thank you. It is a strange experience. Each time anew. Like a lost soul is spelunking through the darkness that is me, only to be sacrificed on the dread altar of the heart. Somehow the second artifact hasn't had the effect of the first. It's somewhat relieved the discomfort, but I fear my hunger hasn't quite... The magic isn't having the effect it should have. It's not like the last time, like a rainstorm that quells a forest fire. It merely drizzles. The embers still sizzle, the fire remains undefeated. I'm not certain what's going on, but nothing good. Please, I need to think. I need to retrace my steps to a glade of calm and think. Thank you for the artifact. A great deal of trouble it was, too. A great deal of trouble indeed. There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. No matter. After all. There's nothing that would give me No matter. After My condition likes being ignored as little as I do. I must consume another artifact. And soon. Thank you.
Remember, stay near the center of the group, all right? No wandering off.
I'm your lummox.
Yes.
Good gods. It hardly has any effect. Oh, Mystra, have mercy on us all. Listen, I need to speak to you, to all of you. It would be unconscionable of me to remain silent. I might just be about to remedy that. You have to know who I was. You have to know who I really am. What I am is a walking shadow of the promise I once held. I'm what one might call a wizard prodigy, who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it, much like a musician or a poet. Such was my skill that it earned me the attention of the mother of magic herself, the Lady of Mysteries, the goddess Mystra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse, and later even my lover. I'm your lummox.
Yes,
Right.
you are.
All of our
Now,
taking
stop
stashed away for
squirming.
the journey?
It's fair to say her intimacy is not easily won. Nevertheless, I did. We enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mystra keeps us in check. There are boundaries she doesn't let us cross, yet every time I was with her, I stood on the precipice, gazing into the wonders that lay beyond. I sought to cross her boundaries.
Give me a kiss.
Hold still. I'll kiss you when you've stopped bleeding, you lump.
I tried to convince her. I pouted. I pleaded. Swore my ambition was only to serve her better. But she only smiled and told me to be contented. But inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, and yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. We come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale? Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms, until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. A Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if, after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess?
Right. All of our taking stashed away for the journey?
The answer was to try. And the outcome was to fail. I was certain that this deed of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study. As for what happened next, here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you in, into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book, bound, and suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws, it's unstoppable as it digs through and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
What is it? What do you see?
I'll kiss you when you've stopped bleeding, you lummox.
Thankfully, the moment I absorbed the fragment wasn't enough to kill me outright. It was only the beginning.
We did it.
This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, it remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however. I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep.
You thrice-damned rotten bastard! You've been the greatest threat to our lives all this time!
I swear to you I wasn't. But I've no choice but to admit I am now. Perhaps it would be best if I leave and put as much distance between us as I can before the orb erupts.
We don't need to break camp fast.
I'll kiss
Remember,
you when you've stopped
find the
bleeding,
river
you
and
lummox.
follow it downstream.
Right.
I'm your lummox.
All of our taking
Yes.
stash.
We might chance upon a king's collection of magical artifacts around the corner. We might cross paths with a miracle round the bend. Then again, we might not. All of this. It must feel like a betrayal. Say the word, and we'll part ways.
The common folk?
A cart sounds fine, but do I have to haul it around?
That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. You truly are a soul that steals my own. From all my new rallied heart, I thank you. I thank you all. I understand if you stand against me. I'm humbled if you stand with me. Either way, I will do my best not to let you down. I stand at a precipice, but if you do not give up hope, neither shall I. I'll fight. I'll resist as long as I can. Now, even I am tired of the sound of my own voice. Let us venture forth. I'm glad you sought me out. Amidst all this merriment, I wasn't sure we'd have a chance to speak this evening. I was hoping you'd spare me a moment. There was something rather magical I wished to show you. A lesson. And trust me when I say few have experienced the pleasure I offer to teach. However, it's something best experienced in more intimate surrounds. Once the revelry is ended, and the stillness of the night has been restored. For now, please, enjoy the celebration. When it is done, I will show you all.
Quiets to a soothing hum as you approach your bunk. Though you seek repose, you needn't spend the night alone. There is one who yearns for you in the dark. Who will you seek? Your heart skips a beat. What treasures might this night bestow?
Oh. My, you startled me. Was miles away.
Just pondering what I lost. Mystra commands all magic. Salvation, if such a thing exists, is hers to bestow or withhold. And yet even now, more than I fear losing my own self and soul, I fear losing my command of her art.
Magic is my life. I've been in touch with the weave for as long as I can remember. There's nothing like it. It's like music, poetry, physical beauty, all rolled into one and given expression through the senses. Is it the same for you? Perhaps we can share the experience by reaching into the weave together. Then follow my lead. Now you.
A familiar feeling, like a kind word and a kind touch at the same time. It's warm and comfortable.
Excellent. Now, repeat after me. Athran mistraril kantrak eo.
Ah, yes. The scent of rosewater and a sense of well-being. A sliver of weave that tastes sweet on the tongue.
Very good. Now, I want you to picture in your mind the concept of harmony, as true as you can.
You see, or is it sense, the unmistakable presence of Mystra, the Lady of Mysteries. There's something like the anticipation of a kiss, then the pleasure of being cloaked in peace. You are safe. You are nestled in the cup of Mystra's hand.
Look at that. We're channeling the weave. How does it feel? That it does.
The weave connects you. The moment feels intimate. You realize the weave is making you one. You have but to imagine your desire, and Gale will know it.
I didn't think.
You perceive quick-fire gusts of embarrassment, trepidation, and finally, elation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting. But it is a pleasant image, to be sure. Most pleasant, in fact. Most welcome.
The weave evaporates, and as it does so, you realize the night feels suddenly cold and lonesome.
Oh. There it goes. How easily things slip away from us, no matter how hard they were in the obtaining. Good night. I enjoyed sharing a moment of magic with you.
I've had a pupil or two, but never for very long. Their ineptitudes tend to irk me. You do seem to be a precocious talent, though. I can always tell when I meet a keen mind, receptive to Mystra. Keep it up, and she might just take a personal interest in you one of these days. The very same. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistril, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like to be a god, to know yourself, to be untouchable, to be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel, and with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistril sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistril, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. If it takes the death of a god to stop you, I'd say your ambition has gotten somewhat out of hand. Not that I'm one to talk, of course. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mystra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. Oh, I was surprised, but pleasantly so. Just like I said, amid the madness that has befallen us, it seems almost out of place to think of a kiss. And yet, now more than ever, it's important to recall what makes us human. Well, you know what I mean. A stolen glance, that sudden heartbeat. Sometimes the little things are worth more than kingdoms. They promise things to come.
Slender drow blade impales the stone before you, keeping a silent vigil. It feels like you're warring with 10 people for the blade, but with another hard yank, the weapon slips free from the stone.
More are coming.
That voice. Do you hear it too?
They're coming. They're coming.
No, listen. A myconid. It's warning us.
They're coming. You're coming.
Even in such fraught times as these, There's peace to be found in the stillness as evening draws in. I used to while away many hours just like these with my companion, though in far comfier surrounds.
She preferred it when we were alone. Curled up before a crackling hearth with some ancient, esoteric tome between us. Ink glinting in the firelight. Oh, not everyone is comfortable being alone with their thoughts. Though I never felt alone with a book in my hand, or with her for company. I speak of Tara, my Tressym, assistant, my constant companion through all the ills and tribulations my hubris has thrust upon me. She'd be proud to see me keeping such fine company. The savior of those poor tieflings, no less. And I've given her precious little to be proud of recently.
After I was afflicted with my condition, I locked myself in my tower for an entire year. I was inconsolable, wallowing in my self-inflicted tragedy.
I've given up on myself. But Tara never did. It was her encouragement, her research that led me to my treatment. Once we knew that magically infused items were the key, she went out to find them for me. She saved my life. She has a good heart. She'd recognize the same in your actions here. I'm sure she'd approve of me lending myself to your efforts. Smart does her a disservice. She's a fine wizard in her own right, though somewhat held back by her lack of opposable thumbs. You remind me of her somewhat. There's a steeliness in you, an unwavering tenacity, even in the face of, to be frank, quite dire odds. Wish she were here for me to make a formal introduction. But I would never ask her to undertake such a journey. She's safer at home. Besides, she was always telling me I needed to spread my wings, so to speak. Find mortal friends instead of hanging onto Mistra's coattails. So that's what I'm doing. I hope. Very funny. But as we all know, nymphs are sticklers when it comes to their bathing routines. You, my friend, haven't been near a fresh spring in a 10-day or more. Not that I don't appreciate your musk. Actually rather like it. Well, this seems as good a time as any for me to stop babbling on. Were I to recite that list, I fear we'd be here at dusk tomorrow. Many things, I assure you. But a conversation better saved for another time.
With my condition as volatile as it is, I fear any undue excitement may tip it over the edge, so to speak.
Go, enjoy your evening. Nothing better for the heart than a good night's rest. And mine is gladdened to know I'll have the pleasure of your company again come morning. Nothing that would give me greater pleasure. No matter. delight to speak with you. What can I do? If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls. There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. No matter.
Wanderer. Stay thy course a moment to indulge an old man.
Elminster?
The very same, Gale. And a fair bit miffed he is, too, finding himself forced to expose his best pair of boots to so many miles of country road on your behalf. Endure an hour's worth of exposition to my presence, and you may well come to consider a different sort of honorific with which to chronicle the occasion. But until then, your sentiment is well received.
Yes. Be that as it may, you said you came all this way on my behalf, did you not? For what purpose?
I was bid to spare neither time nor my own self to find you. She sent me, Gale. You know of whom I speak.
But why? Out with it, Elminster. Please.
Young man, has your sojourn away from Waterdeep washed away your decorum as well as your patience? Nigh a 10-day I've gone without honest fare, worthy of the name. Drank naught, but what the sky entitled my thirst. Why, some bread, cheese, and a cup of wine would appear unto me a feast. Surely you would begrudge me a mite of rest and repast before I get out with it? Alas, such luxuries require the beneficence of time. And time, as I'm sure our friend here will attest, is the very luxury of which we're all too bereft.
Oh, for the love of...
This way, then? To your camp. Oh, don't dawdle now, lad. You're the one who's in such a frightful hurry.
Oh, nigh on 13 centuries old and he still thinks with his stomach. We'd best follow and see if he's more disposed to speak plainly once it's stopped its grumbling. A wise choice. Better to indulge your curiosity than Elminster's appetite.
Yes, what a delightful wedge of old Elthurian that was. Doesn't do to parley on an empty stomach, you know. Makes one's words frivolous when they should be grave. Plenty to digest, after all. A A good deal to stew over, if you will. Words ladled with import should be savored so as to better absorb their meaning. Wouldn't you agree?
Elminster.
Right. You see, that is to say, Gale, my boy, I've come to address a most pressing matter. I'll speak as plainly as I can, forswearing the accustomed frills that decorate my speech. I'm here on behalf of Mystra. The message and the charge I bring you are hers.
Oh, Mistra's delicate feet are ill-suited for the hardships of the road.
You know where you went wrong, Gale. No, we needn't dwell on that here and now. But even so, you're to be given a chance of redemption.
Mistra would consider forgiveness.
She would consider what she considers to be forgiveness. Mystra is aware of the misadventures that have befallen you both. She knows of your strife with the Absolute, that most insidious of evils. They choose the instruments of their will with great precision. Sometimes the single drops we think we are do not realize what waves we are building up to be. Do not discount yourself, and by the same token, do not discount your enemy. You must know that the Absolute is more dangerous than you can possibly conceive. It threatens all who live, even those who are undying. It threatens the gods, the weave, the very fabric of the universe itself. That is why I have come here to charge you, Gale, with its destruction. It is Mistra's belief that only you can. I doubt not your conviction, but Gale has an unnatural advantage.
The orb.
Precisely. Mystra has granted me the power to stop the clock, as it were, on the orb's rush to overpower you. Instead, you will be able to unleash its lethal combustion at will.
Interesting. This could be help or hindrance. We shall have to see.
You must find the heart of the Absolute, whatever that may be, and use yourself as the catalyst that will burn it from this world.
No, indeed. But I think she trusts me too.
It brings me no pleasure saying this, my friend, but such is Mistra's will. Yours must be the sacrifice that will undo the Absolute, and for your sacrifice you will be redeemed. Such is Mistra's promise. With that, I've said my sorry piece, and need only bestow unto thee the charm I was bid. Mina hastra mistraril Italion thras annas It is done. Both charge and charm have been committed into your care. To you, I commit into care Gale himself. I count on you to shepherd him well on this strangest of journeys.
Or some other fortune altogether.
Like moons make swell and wane the nescient seas, so too the sky-strewn gods ordain the tidal fates of mortal days. And yet, an ocean born in lonely hours, come ebb, come flow, come all that is beyond the breadth of our dominion. Be a moon unto yourself. Even the waves of fate can break upon the shores of will. Farewell, my friend.
Farewell, Elminster. I'm glad she chose you. An audience with Elminster is never less than memorable. I'd have hoped to introduce you to him in less dire circumstances. But those are hard to come by these days. The Doddering Act is merely an illusion, one he's most adept at maintaining. Elminster is the most formidable wizard in the realms, perhaps in existence. For Mystra to have sent him, the severity of her bidding could not be clearer, or weigh more heavily on me. Time seems so infinite when you're young. A month is an age. A year is a lifetime. It is a strange feeling to realize how little of it one might have left. Of course, you offer the clearest solution to our problem. All I have to do is find the right place and time, close my eyes, and let go. Then the slate will be clean. Wrongs will be righted, the absolute will be gone, and I along with it. If there was, I'm sure the goddess of magic and the greatest wizard who ever lived would have identified it. But alas, only one solution is offered. That remains ahead of us for now. The heart of the Absolute must be discovered before I can stop its beating. Then I suppose there is nothing more to be done but find the heart of the Absolute and stop its beating. It's quite thrilling to fight off such grim creatures as this region throws at us, especially being at your side. I once read a book that explained in some detail the effect a brush with danger has on one's desire for other forms of stimulation. Have you ever read anything on that subject? I can't imagine anywhere that could turn my heart from you, cursed or otherwise. You'd always be as beautiful and as impressive. Perhaps it's just the thrill of our near undead experience talking. Standing at your side through such darkness and disrepair. It only makes me want you more. Unfortunately, this is neither the time nor the place to indulge such feelings, so we must be patient and push all such thoughts aside. For now. Was there anything else you wish to discuss?
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Gale of Waterdeep. He wishes to extend you an invitation for a private conversation in a more suitable locale. Gladly. Simply follow yonder path, and soon you will find him.
love this time of night. There's an almost reverent silence that accompanies the peak of darkness, when you'd almost believe the dawn will never break. The cradle of eternity. The timelessness of lovers. That most beautiful of fantasies. Indeed. The curse is still present, of course. Just veiled and at arm's length for now. Not a trick I can repeat often, but tonight is different. This may be my last night alive. I wanted it to be under a canopy of beauty and wonder, and with company to match. I thought this place might bring me peace. I thought it might make the weight of what I must do feel a little lighter. But I'm not so sure. Babe or crone, coward or hero, death is assured. Mystra's forgiveness is not. If you knew the end was near, would you not want to ensure it had meaning? I am terrified. I will not claim otherwise. My face could scarcely conceal it, even if my words sought to deny it. There is no point in running from the inevitable. Better to meet it on my own terms. One moment with you could sate me for a lifetime and prize the fear from my heart. I'm so very glad you came to share this with me. I know this is all unreal, but I created it for you. You must know that you're very special to me. If things were different, if we were home, I'd have taken time to do things properly, to say it all better. But time is short. I'm in love with you. That's a relief. It would be a shame to spend my final hours making an ass of myself. And you're a bad liar. I lived the life of a hermit for some time before I met you. Safer for all, but not conducive to pleasures of the flesh. I want it to be perfect. To bond with you in the way the gods do, intertwining our spirits in visions of the weave. How about the perfect night in Waterdeep? Yes? Let's imagine how it would be. The scene is this. You and I stand in the room that is the center of my universe. Sculptures, the paintings, the walls enlivened by the spines of 1,000 books. The grand piano plays the Lyrian suites all by itself, and as we look out beyond the arches that lead to the terrace, we see the weary sun take its daily dive into the sea.
my favorite spot. Many times, evening turned to night and back to daybreak once more while I sat here, lost in words. Oh, allow me to live dangerously while I still can. This one here is called The Art of the Night. It details the first 1,000 nights of a newlywed king and queen. They turned everything they did into an art. The art of conversation, the art of taste, time-honored and newly acquired. The art of the body, the exploration and acceptance of the self and the other. The art of the night itself. I say we take a page from their book. Then let's set the book aside and be blank slates on blank sheets. Delightfully new. What do you say? The stars will be our bed. Come here. Why confine ourselves to the pleasures of mortal flesh? There's but one stitch in a vast tapestry. Let me show you more. When you wake, it will be back at our camp. Back in our small, dirty, bloody patch of existence. But stay with me now. There are endless worlds out there. Countless ways to declare love. Infinite ways to express it. Too much for one night. But we shall try.
wanted to talk to you about our night together. Have you ever walked to the very edge of a great precipice and shuddered at how easy it would be to step into the void? Ever since Elminster told me of Mistra's expectations of me, felt like I've been walking along such a cliff face. The great drop to nothingness, never out of my sight. But you led me away from the edge. Without your words, your touch, I fear I would have sought purpose and solace in that void. Reminding me what living can feel like. I had been hoping you'd say that. To be an object of pity. I couldn't live with that. I hope the end is much farther away than I had suspected. I hope that night meant as much to you as it did to me. And I hope we all have more time together. Together. Alone. I'll see that there is. Woe betide anyone who tries to stop me.
There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. You must know. Our relationship is the brightest spot in our otherwise bleak endeavor. To know you love me for the man I am and not the magic I command. None have loved me so purely before. You are everything to me. And yet our relationship is only a nascent fraction of what it will become. You give me hope. And I've not had that in some time. What a question. No. You're not the first. Though you are the first since my relationship with Mystra came to its ignominious end. When the true danger posed by my condition became apparent, I had no choice but to sequester myself away from civilized society. A reclusive wizard. Who'd have thought? After so long with Mystra, I have to say the pleasures of mortal love are much sweeter than I remember. Though perhaps that's simply because it's with you. No matter. After all, a bond like ours hardly needs words to express it. What else is troubling you? Whatever you need, there's nothing that would give me great. No matter.
A well-chewed spider carcass oozes on the ground. A cavalcade of nasty smells rises from the corpse, but one of them is familiar. The prickling, metallic whiff of magic. The meat tastes of rot and sour milk. Your stomach lurches, but your loins tingle. Was that arousal?
If what is happening is what I think is happening, and it's because you licked a dead spider, the time might just have come when you and I should split ways.
In amongst the rot is an unmistakable sweetness. Succubus spittle. The meat is charmed. The carcass continues to leak. Your guts cramp, your stomach churns, and your nerves burn with a pain that would almost be pleasurable were it not so savage.
Stop licking the damn thing! Worried. But being in this place, knowing what lies within poses such a threat. I hope the only heart that's broken here is the Absolute's. I'd never forgive myself for breaking yours. No matter. There's nothing that would give me...
And murmur, the presence in your mind builds to a roar.
We found it. The Absolute is behind this door.
You said it was under control.
It isn't you I answer to, Gortash.
Oh, the general voice. Is this where we salute?
Salute, yes. With cleavers through his blood-starved flesh. How it crawls with failure, like flies on lick-wet carrion.
You forget yourself, Orin. I've played my part.
You built an army for our masters, true enough. But what of the astral prism? A rogue true soul flaunting it under your nose all this time, and you ran from him.
Sure that they would follow and deliver it into my hands here. If you would cease these distractions.
The distractions have been yours, Ketherick. Perhaps we never should have dug your daughter up. So you haven't lost your edge. But you're still not as sharp as Orin, I wager. The Slayer against the Undying One. That'd be fun to see.
His crypt breath sings to my sinews. Again, 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 again. But he must lead the murder march to Baldur's grave.
If the weapon is truly in your grasp, Ketherick, might I suggest closing your fist? Orin and I can wait for you no longer. The plan proceeds. We're going to the city, and we expect you to follow. Army and the weapon in tow.
The Edict of Bane.
The Lash of Ball!
The Testament of Merkel!
An elder brain. One of the cruelest and most powerful creatures in existence. Enslaved by mere mortals.
Look at that crown. It radiates with power unlike anything I've ever seen. To have it. To hold. Oh, if only I could. But I can't. This is it. I must do as Mystra commands. One last gust of weave. One last gale to end them all.
No!
Beneath the smoking ashes of Moonrise Towers, the Elder Brain lies destroyed. But what of the tadpoles it commanded? Freed of the Absolute's control, they will complete their transformations. A plague of illithids will soon descend on the Sword Coast, enslaving all they do not infect. It is an ending of sorts, though not the one destiny had in store for you.
But I can't. This is it. I must do as Mystra commands. What choice do I have? More than just a goddess counseled my courage. Whole worlds hang in the balance. I love you too. Much more than myself. More even than Mistra. Very well. Whether I condemn this world or not, I choose you.
There we are. It wouldn't do to fight in front of our guest. Behold, Duke Ravengard, the Absolute.
Whom preserve us?
You wag your word flap in vain, Alderling. Once the worm holds the whip, your shredded flesh will serve us.
Now, it's really time we were going. We will empty this place and begin the march. You may catch up with the army once you've retrieved the weapon. And Ketheric, do try not to sulk. You're supposed to be the fearsome general come to conquer the city. And I am the hero who will save it.
It is time, faithful ones. March on Baldur's Gate. We go to prepare the way.
No matter. Anything I can do for you, there's nothing that would give me...
This city of stone and steel is an endless scream in nature's womb. I have felt no peace here. Until now, your eyes, Stira. There is pain, endless and deep, but also devotion, blazing like the sun. You're in love. Are you not? You are wise to admit it. When it comes to love, vulnerability is armor, truth a sword, and trust a shield. I pray you wield all three, Stira. Bring the one you love to me. I will look into your hearts and see if your love is eternal or doomed eternally.
Thoroughly magical. Let's have at it.
Close your eyes, little ones. Be still as stone to earth. And remember to breathe. I see you. I see the bond between you. So tender, so fragile. But do you see it for yourselves? Gale, the learned wizard, the charming gentleman, the walking apocalypse. Listen, think. If the wizard were given the choice, what food would he be?
An apt metaphor. Though I hope it won't lose me some kisses.
Hear how your bond thrums with pleasure. Strong, vital, pulsing with affection. The heart is fraught, so let us turn to the joyous. When is Gale happiest?
Bravo. That is indeed where my mind wanders to, when times are hard.
The sweetest loves dance lightly on the tongue, but now we must dig deeper, into the most painful reaches of the spirit. We often gaze through a veil of roses, but love accepts both the petal and the thorn. Gale, what is his greatest flaw?
Hearing it said out loud. Yes, I fear it is true. Fate seems determined to make a sacrifice of me. But perhaps fate can yet be defied. A perfect score. Seems you know me better than I know myself.
How close you are. Two hearts beating a perfect rhythm. But I know the truth. Only one face haunts your dreams each night. Close your eyes, sweetness, and she will come to you. So, you're the lick-spittle who crushed the Bone Lord's throne. Oh, have you come begging, sniffing for our stones? Gortash won't like that. A throat his black hand can't choke the spit from. Oh, your bond will not save you. He will wrap its cord around your neck and make you swing from it. When you find the lordling, tell him Orin is watching.
So, Orin's a shapeshifter.
Buddy the dog is my very best friend. Do you know why? Why? Because with him, anything is possible. Way!
Gods, I hate clowns. I'm not even sure clowns like clowns.
Did you hear about the scarecrow who lost a fight? He got the stuffing kicked out of him. Way! Oh, you're all such good friends. I've had a wonderful time, but I have to go. Oh, well, if you insist. How about a magic trick? But first, I need a volunteer with nerves of steel and the heart of a lion. Who will it be? Who?
The hair on the back of your neck raises as a shiver passes through you.
You, my special assistant. Come on up.
Truly, I might as well go mount the gallows.
Oh, my heart! The enthusiasm is too much! Now, up, double sharp, or poor Buddy will think you don't like him. Right there! Oh, perfect!
Oh, you truly are testing the patience of a man who could level a city if he wished, you know?
Now, you're very special. As special as can be. Does anyone know why?
Why?
You're special, my friend, because I have a message just for you. Praise the Absolute.
Annals of Carsus. The preamble to a civilization's downfall, committed to parchment by the very hand that wrought its destruction. If the crown atop the Elder Brain was truly forged by Carsus himself, this book will confirm it. All we have to do is turn the page. That devil Raphael was telling the truth. There's no doubt. The crown of Carsus is what's controlling the Elder Brain. And this is no mere journal. It contains Carsus's original plans for the crown's construction. His designs for godhood. Not from scratch. Unless you happen to have several pounds of the purest Netherese metals in that pack of yours. Don't worry. I'm not asking you to surrender anything else on my account. What's called for here is something altogether different. The book states that the crown and netherstones were originally one construct, seemingly sundered at the moment of Carsus's downfall. If we can collect the crown's setting and the 3 netherstones, and with the correct invocation of certain spells and gestures detailed in these notes, I think I could reforge it. To every end you can imagine, and 1,000 more beyond. Just think of it. The power of the gods in mortal hands at last would be free of doctrine and dogma, confined only by the limits of our imaginations. We must discuss this further, but quietly, privately. Find me later, and I will show you something truly divine. I will show you what a crown like this could mean for both of us. I can hardly wait.
Can't slow down.
Here we go.
Elminster?
Oh, hello, my boy. No, don't mind me. I'm just enjoying a lungful of Baldurian air. Yes, a distinctive aroma, though perhaps not one worthy of bottling. I hear you've been browsing in the most esteemed of Emporium's sorcerous sundries. Indulge my curiosity. What wonders did you discover there? I trusted he would be sensible enough to exercise caution in this matter and to seek the truth. By now, you are aware of the evil we are up against. Karsus' pestilent crown, the very tool with which its eponymous creator unmade an empire and magic itself. Perhaps now you understand what is at stake here, my boy. Though what Mystra asked of you was extreme, it was not without merit, nor demanded lightly.
What are you saying? Or rather, what are you not saying?
Mystra knows you defied her, Gale. Well, of course she knows. She's Mystra. She bids you come to her holy shrine in the Stormshore Tabernacle. There, she will grant you an audience at last. There is only one reason why you should set your ambitions on such an item. To offer it over to Mystra as a token of your loyalty. Perhaps then she would overlook your earlier failings. But if you crave it for yourself, you would not just be failing her, you would be challenging her. Choose wisely, Gale. Do not trade one calamity for another. If you will not hear it from me, hear it from your goddess. What truths she has to offer are for your ears alone. Gale of Waterdeep. Godspeed.
So all it took to get Mystra's attention was to learn how to reforge an artifact that once destroyed her. It's obvious when you stop to think about it. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. For now, I'm just a regular wizard holding the blueprint for greatness. Mystra knows I've read Karsus' designs. I'm certain of that. And it clearly has her shaken. This is a conversation that's long overdue on both sides. I owe it to her to hear her out. Come what may afterwards. After you. I must admit, the crown of Karsus has occupied my every thought since I learned of it. If I can seize it and use it, the possibilities for us are infinite. Words alone are not enough. Permit me to show you. Please, close your eyes a moment. Astra navigamus. Few mortals ever glimpse what you're about to see. But don't be alarmed. I'm here with you. Now, open your eyes. The Outer Planes. This is where gods dwell. They observe us from afar, where they make playthings of us. They will keep all of this from us. The power, the possibilities. They only want us to serve them, to pray to them, and ultimately to die for them. But what if we didn't need them?
What if we wielded their power instead and helped ourselves in all the ways they refuse to? I could make that happen. I could make this illusion a reality, with you by my side. No, not like that. I don't want to join them, I want to better them. A god's powers paired with a mortal conscience, a mortal heart. The tadpoles, the orb, these threats to our existence, the gods could aid us if they wished, but instead they cower behind Io. So let us act ourselves. With the power of the crown, any foe would be rendered impotent, any obstacle would be dwarfed by our might. I used to believe Mistra's forgiveness was worth dying for. But I was wrong. You showed me just how much I have to live for. With you, I forget, my goddess. I love you. Tell me you feel the same way. Tell me you want what I want. Please. Right now, I need nothing more than a kiss. Then we'll face what is to come, together. And claim the crown when the time comes. You put the stars to shame. Let's sit here another while. I want to drink you in. I hope the city doesn't seem too small and quaint to you. Now you've caught a glimpse of what lies above and beyond. I had hoped to have a word with you about that, in fact. Our little voyage to the stars. What I proposed to you was something bolder than most mortals ever have to contend with. And yet, your resolve was firm. I wanted to see how you felt on Terra Prima. Did our dream survive the waking from it? Then my sore arms thank you. I can finally stop pinching myself. I can't tell you how glad I am not to face such an undertaking alone. We will succeed where Carsus failed, I'm sure of it. Standing, side by side, even against such intimidating odds. How could we not? Was there anything else you wish to discuss?
Stands just as Elminster promised. Mystra, goddess of the weave, mother of all magic.
The old man wasn't lying. She's opened the summoning channel. Can't you feel it?
Gale's right. The very air around the statue crackles with magic, as though the weave itself were coursing beneath her stony skin.
A stream of pure, undiluted weave. I only have to reach out, and it will carry me to Mystra, wherever she may be.
Do what you must, Gale. Mystra has weighed upon your heart and mind for too long.
Time was, I'd have given my right arm for a chance to speak with Mystra again. The left one, too. Maybe a knee. Am I? You're right. I am a strong, capable wizard. And this is no more than a casual reunion with an ex-lover. My omnipotent, omniscient ex-lover. I always wonder what being nervous would feel like. I hate it. During my time locked away in Waterdeep, I prepared a quite comprehensive speech for her on the subject of our former relationship and the manner in which it ended. Alas, recent events have rendered the majority of it moot, so I'm gonna have to improvise. Unless you have any words of wisdom to impart before I go. With pleasure. It's not often one has the chance to threaten a goddess and make good on it. Mystra won't be the one issuing the orders for much longer. She'll know exactly who's coming for her. This won't take long, and when I'm done, I'll be free of Mystra's yoke once and for all.
Gale of Waterdeep. You look well.
No thanks to you. I wasn't expecting a summons, but then you did always prefer things on your terms.
I did not come here to suffer a mortal's admonitions. Certainly not yours. You discovered what lies at the heart of the Absolute, the crown of Karsus. And you disobeyed my instruction. Why?
You abandoned me in my hour of greatest need. I had no obligation to help you in yours.
You still believe yourself to be so wronged. You always were stubborn. The past cannot be undone with self-pity, nor can a future be forged. Only with the truth will you see the way ahead. The fragment of magic you tried to return to me was not of my creation. It was the Karsite Weave. It is a corrupted, half-born magic, wrought in the brief moment Karsus ascended to godhood. It hungers for power, just as he did, and it can never be sated. You unleashed something that would consume all magic in existence, and yet you thought only of preserving yourself.
Well, somebody had to. You weren't exactly forthcoming with any offers of help.
My concern was the preservation of everything. The Karsite Weave could tear apart the very fabric of the material plane. That it entered your body and consumed no more than your powers was a miracle. But we will not be granted another. The only reason the orb sleeps is because I have allowed it to feed on the true weave. A temporary measure, but one that will not be enough to save us. With each day that passes, the Elder Brain threatens to become a new kind of god. Its worshippers, a scourge of soulless illithids. If you will not use the orb to end this abomination, then you must find a way to separate crown and host. When you've done this, you must surrender the crown of Karsus to me.
Not happening. When I get my hands on that crown, I'm going to wield it. Karsus's powers will be mine.
Crown yourself, Gale Decarius, and you will learn what it is to carry such weight upon your shoulders. If it does not crush you, I will.
The Karsite Weave. I had no idea. Do you realize what this means? The orb is no stray piece of ordinary magic. It is something entirely different. The nascent form of a new divine power. Of course, I couldn't control it. I was mortal. But once I reforge the crown, the power of a god will be mine to command. The orb will answer to me. So do I. Though I'm not sure that's the purpose I'd apply it to. Let me assure you, Carsite Weave has no more inherent evil to it than a child in the womb, or an axe half forged on the blacksmith's anvil. It is a tool, ready to be shaped by its wielder, by me. And you know me to be someone of reasonably sound moral judgment, don't you? Gods, it's refreshing to share the company of someone who sees things the same way I do. All we need to do is stay focused on the task at hand, defeating that Elder Brain. After that, you can leave the rest to me.
We're not doing this for charity.
Honey, you go with the girls. I'll find another way to Waterdeep.
What? No! We can't go without you.
What? That's the only solution. Trust me. Look, I'll catch up to you.
Black stuff in all the gills.
You'd better.
Is that blood?
You'll have to wash them all.
No. Never mind.
Never let you sell them like that.
Especially when it's been in storage for months.
Never known
You go with the
anything like
girls. I'll find another way.
Something's
to
going on
Waterdeep.
down there.
What?
I'd bet my net on it.
What?
We can't go without
How much
you.
for the saltpeter?
It's the only solution. Trust me. I'll catch up to you.
How many
better.
barrels?
You'd better catch up to us.
All right, Captain.
500
Just these
gold,
three, then.
At least 100 in coin.
That's harbour robbery. Especially when it's been in storage for months.
We both know you sell it for twice that to the armory once the
Do these
city's
fish
under
smell?
siege. Too right. I'll go 600.
You want
Fishy,
4 birds on
do
the
you?
roof? You pay for all 4 birds.
We only have
Of course they
enough
do.